A must-see middleweight title clash headlines UFC 305 down in Perth, Western Australia, as Dricus du Plessis defends his middleweight championship for the first time against the former champ and one of the best ever, Israel Adesanya. One of the best MMA minds in the game is Sayif Saud out of Fortis MMA in Dallas, Texas. And Sayif, the war of words between these two has been going on for quite some time. Finally, they get it done inside the octagon.
These guys have been talking to each other for quite some time. I really look forward to this fight. But let's start with the now champion, Dricus du Plessis, a little bit of an unorthodox striking style. This guy's had real success in the UFC against some of the best guys in the division. Also, this guy's got an excellent clinch. He transitions to big knees, redirects ahead, goes to takedowns. Once he gets guys on the ground, they got a lot of trouble. This guy's really physically imposing, really big ground and pound. He's just a really balanced fighter, Brendan. He's really, really good. That's how he got the title. But he faces the former great middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. Israel is one of the most exceptional kickboxers we have seen in the division. He mixes it up so beautifully with excellent footwork. He's constantly changing the picture, keeping guys guessing what's coming next. Really good takedown defense in space or against the fence. This guy just has a plethora of experience, so many championship rounds, excellent fight IQ. This is really going to come down to who can execute on fight night. Both these teams are really good at game plan, and I can't wait to see who comes out on top.
Gotta think Adesanya's motivation is sky high after he lost his title to Strickland, and now du Plessis is the one with the title. When they kind of jawed in the octagon last summer, the roles were reversed. We'll get into Fight Focus and Adesanya trying to become the first three-time UFC middleweight champion. He's known for striking, but Dricus du Plessis is known for power, and he certainly has shown that in the striking department.
You're right. You know, we talked about he's a little unorthodox, but he's had great success with this, and he sets it all up with these feints and fakes and this footwork. He's constantly switching around his stances, and he really tricks people. Let's take a look at this. We're going to start with Sean Strickland. Like you said, Sean Strickland had a lot of success against Izzy, right? I mean, we all saw that fight. He took the belt. So this was really interesting, and everyone kind of thought, well, you know, he's going to have to grab him. He's going to have to hold him. Sean Strickland had some losses earlier in his career to that. Dricus is going to have to grab him and take him down. But that's not what happened, right? He stood pretty much the whole time. And let's take a look at what he does here. So we see him here. He's in a southpaw stance. Strickland is making his read. He sees this southpaw. But we're just going to watch what Dricus does here. So as he walks out, he just switches. Now he's orthodox. Strickland's got to make a read. Okay, what are you doing? And he doesn't settle here. He does this the whole time, and it just jumps out on the film, right? Now let's watch what he does. Strickland's getting ready. He quickly switches back to that southpaw and then throws that jab, and he just does it very effortlessly. Look, really quick switch, and then right off the switch, watch the explosion. Boom. So he's constantly changing the picture, and we're going to see it again. Let's watch the lead hand here of du Plessis, a little bit of a fake. We see a reaction from Strickland again. Now let's watch the right leg of du Plessis right here. We're going to watch this leg right here. All he's going to do is just kind of lift it up a little bit, give a little bit of a feint like he's going to throw a kick, and you're going to see Strickland again with the reaction, and all this just to land this body kick. So we see du Plessis, he throws a lot of feints and a lot of fakes, and they really, really work. He's very good at it. And that's not something that I think we saw earlier. His striking is very, very good. There he lands another leg kick. And now here we see later in the fight, Strickland's bloodied up, right? And I mean, the striking was really what was effective. It was a close fight, but here we're going to see du Plessis again. Watch this, he's going to really start mixing it up. Here he looks like he's going to go for a jump knee, right? He starts grabbing and lifting. We see Strickland again, just kind of reacting, right? He's always a step behind. He's reacting to what Dricus does. And we're going to see Dricus again here. He's just going to add on. No, it's not lower body. It's just a 1-2 right down the middle. So we saw this time and time again from Dricus in this fight. We saw him just mixing it up with the feints and the fakes, changing the picture. And finally, I want to give our viewers this camera 7 view just to kind of see what Strickland is looking at here. So here we go again. We see him. He's in the orthodox position, right? He's got this foot back, this foot forward. Strickland is in his usual orthodox. He's got his Philly shell going on. And we're just going to see what du Plessis does here. Watch how slick this is. They're very subtle. I'm going to step back here. But what this does here, Brendan, I'm going to show you. Let me borrow you really quick. Okay, so you give me your best Sean Strickland. Give me the Philly shell. I need Philly shell orthodox. I need you to go orthodox. Put this leg back.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So we see du Plessis here, right? He's right here. Okay, we know that Strickland has a really good 1-2. He uses it very well. He used it against Izzy. And we see du Plessis, he's right here. Strickland's kind of thinking about this. But what du Plessis does so well is just by stepping back like this, I completely change the range of where that 1-2 is, right? When I'm right here, you throw that right hand, boom, you're going to nail me. But when I just take a step back and you throw that right hand, all of a sudden I'm back here. So let's take a look at what he does here. He's going to do this exact same thing. Strickland's there goes the jab. Strickland kind of looking for the right hand, and we see Du Plessis take that step back. And now we say Du Plessis is now in that southpaw stance, and we see the distance between these guys now is way more than what it was. And now, not only does that work defensively, but watch what Du Plessis does. He's going to settle, and boom, he goes right to the left hand. And now watch his feet. He steps through back to where he was, and he changes that distance, right? Let me get you back in here, orthodox. So when I step through with the left hand and you go back, now he steps through. Now he's back in that original position to land his right hand. And you're going to see this right here. And so this is the footwork that he uses to trick guys, and it worked really, really well in this fight. I look for him to do it again against Adesanya, and this is how he covers distance. So unorthodox, the champion is, but very successful.
So now on the other side, Adesanya in the challenger's role once again. It's worked out for him against Alex Pereira. His striking has been his hallmark since he came into the UFC, known as the decorated kickboxer, and that's transitioned to MMA as well.
You nailed it. This guy's an exceptional kickboxer. He has this very unique ambidextrous style where he's continuously switching stances, and he's just got a plethora of techniques that he's executed so well all the way back to his kickboxing days. Let's take a look at some of the unique things that the former champion does here. And here we see him against the great Robert Whittaker. And we know that Izzy has the length advantage here. He's got 4-inch length advantage here, and he usually does against most guys. He's pretty long, but it's his legs that he uses here. I just want you to watch this, right? Watch the lower body movement and watch all the feints and the fakes. And I want you to watch Robert Whittaker. He's trying to calculate all this, right? Scary having this guy on the end. And I think when Izzy comes forward, and we'll talk about that, he's really scared. But let's just watch Israel. He's going to give a little feint right here. We're going to see a little feint, and then we see Robert Whittaker throw this kick, okay, as a response. And we're going to watch this check here by Israel and where exactly it is, just the details. I mean, you look at that. Right? This is just, even though it's defensive, it just shows you how comfortable he is at range. I mean, that's a perfect check. Sucks right on the foot. I mean, that hurt. And now he's got Robert kind of reacting, and you're going to see Izzy again. He's going to feint this leg like he's going to throw a kick. He's going to freeze Robert right there. He kind of freezes Robert, right? But he's still going to use this little freeze to advance all the way up this line. And you see Whittaker, he's kind of just in a reactive mode, similar to Dricus, right? He had Strickland reacting, but it's not going to be a kick. And you're going to see him, he's just going to keep gliding through, getting close. Again, you see that little pump of the leg, and then it's just too late, right? He just fits that shot right in between. So he'll give you a little bit of lower body and then hit you with upper body. And this was a great shot, drop Robert Whittaker. And this is when Izzy's at his best, when he's on the outside, picking guys apart. And here we see just the dexterity and the awesome ability. Look at this head kick. Now, Robert Whittaker, nope, you're not going to get that one. He sees it, but what he does is he leaves his leg there. Again, we talk about that high-low game that Israel plays so well. And watch what Izzy does. Right when he puts this down, he's right on that kick. I mean, so he's really hard to defend because when he's striking all cylinders, he's attacking you from head to toe with both sides. And we see that here in this Whittaker fight. Lands the leg kick. And then here he goes. You start saying, hey, I can't wait on the outside. Here I come. I'm going to rush forward. And this guy's got unbelievable counters. And we see that. He's going to slip off the A-zone. He's going to land this first hook. But I want you to watch Izzy's head. He's going to take his head all the way from here and move it all the way back here. And he's going to land this hook too. So he'll slip his head off the center line when guys come forward. Watch his head. He's going to get it all the way on the other side. As Robert goes to counter, boom, the knockout shot. We remember this. It was a big moment for him. So he'll pick you apart at range. And when you start to rush, he'll slip off and he'll counter. So Izzy's not a guy that you can rush forward and try to take him out. Sean Strickland put a lot of pressure on him. I look for Dricus to do the same thing, but you got to be careful.
Adesanya known for his striking, the footwork as well, to allow him to get that striking off, which was negated against Sean Strickland. Got to think he wants to employ that in this fight with Du Plessis.
Yeah, that's exactly right. His footwork is the gateway to his success. This guy switches so seamlessly in between stances. It's so impressive. He'd be in the middle of attack and switch to something else, which keeps his opponents guessing the whole time. Really hard to deal with. Let's take a look at some of the little tricks of the trade here from Izzy. So here we're going to see the same kind of sequence that we saw earlier. We saw Robert Whittaker rushing in, right? Because you stay at range, you're just getting picked apart from the kicks, from the hands. So we're going to see Whittaker rush in, but this time instead of Israel throwing counter punches, he's going to slide out of the way. And this is him owning the center of the octagon, right on the monster logo. He's going to slide right out. And then instead of punching now, he just goes back to the kicks. So you'll see Izzy just slide out of the way defensively. And then now he also uses it offensively. So this is a huge fight. We're going to talk about it a lot. Obviously, Alex has had a ton of success since then, which really speaks to Israel's talent. But here we see him southpaw, and we're going to watch. He's just going to step through here to the orthodox, right? Boom, here comes the jab. Here comes the right hand, just a little short. Bam, here comes the body kick. And we're going to talk about this again. This goes back to what we were talking about with Dricus and changing the range on what's going on. So we know Alex kind of has this style, right, where he stands like this and he kind of waits. He's got an unbelievable left hook, good right hand, a great right kick that we've seen. But he kind of squares up with people, right, to get him where he wants. And Izzy knows this. So right here we see Izzy's winning the foot position battle. He's doing fine, and Alex is kind of making his calculations. We know that left hook. We know that right kick knockout, right? And watch what Izzy does here. Izzy, by simply just stepping through right here, boom, he changes the whole picture. Okay, same thing. Now, Alex has got to recalibrate his thoughts for just a second, but he's a step behind because we watch Izzy. Right when he's recalibrating, he's going to go to throw that leg kick, what he likes so much. That's all he needs, right? Izzy's already changed the range by stepping back in, and when he throws that leg kick, he's there to land that shot. He tries to throw this right hand, which we'll talk about, and then he adds on, and we see again, Alex has that reaction with his arms. He's always kind of reacting. And we see Izzy sneak that body kick right underneath. And he set all that up with switching stances beautifully. And here we go again. Boom, step through again. So this is a big shot here. And this shot would be very important. We'll speak about it. Here we go again. It's that same thing, except this time I stay southpaw. I'm going to throw the left hand first to cover the distance. Now I've got the distance covered. We see the footwork. And now let's watch. He's going to step through here. And as he backs up to retreat, the attacks are coming a lot closer because the footwork is switching. And so that is really where Izzy gets guys in trouble. So he lands the left hand, but watch him step through. Now let's just stop it right here. Now this front foot is all the way in the middle of his feet while he's already backing up and falling back. Look at how much distance he covered by doing that. He loads the right hand up, and he's going to nail this same part on Alex over and over again. We're going to talk about that right here. He sets it up again by switching his feet. Excellent stuff by Israel. We're just going to let this play. This is just him being him against the fence, right? He's going to have to be very defensively responsible with his footwork to get away from Dricus.
Yeah, and speaking of trying to push him back against the fence, Dricus du Plessis has that clinch game. As you mentioned, he's very physically imposing for this weight class. He's got a wide body. He's got a big frame. And if he gets it along the fence and can kind of bleed some clock, that could be a key.
We call that a big body. He big bodies, guys. Yeah. That's what he does. He's got a big body, excellent shots in the clinch. He redirects the head really good to knees, or he'll transition to really well-timed takedowns. Let's look at Dricus here. So this is a clinch, position, no big deal. But we see Tavares has an underhook here, and he's driving Dricus to the fence, right? But let's just watch Dricus's hand right here and how he redirects. This is really simple, but in real time, it's really good. He's going to grab the top of his head, and he's just going to give a little pull, but watch the redirection. You see that? He went from a grab to a redirection, and now he's driving Tavares' head right into this giant knee. And he did that in really close space, right? So very aggressive here in the clinch. He doesn't just settle. And here we're going to see him again. He'll take that big overhand, boom, to land that big shot. He really loves to redirect the head into these big knees, and he's very good at it, very successful. And here we see Till, okay? Dricus will kind of press forward so much that guys start reacting. We saw Strickland do this as well. We see guys start kind of just coming in, and so that's what they crash into. Dricus, he goes for that clinch. Automatically, it seems like he just goes for this knee all the time. He's always grabbing the head. This time, Till's like pulling out of it. He's not really going to catch him. But watch what Dricus does. Once he finds out that that's not there, look at this level change. I mean, this guy was just up here. He's a big guy to be getting down there that quick. Hits a nice double leg, takes him down. And this is the part that I like, right? And we talked about that big body work. This isn't really going to be any ground control. He's just going to kind of press him up against the fence, similar to what Sean Strickland did against Izzy, right? He's just going to land a bunch of shots here. And I look for him to try to win these positions, even if he can't get the takedown against Israel, who's not going to be easy to hold down. I look for him to win these positions in the clinch and just use that body to really land some shots, whether the knees, the punches, or get some takedowns in transition.
So du Plessis, if he can work his clinch game, get it to the ground. We've seen Adesanya get controlled against bigger body guys like he did against Jan Blachowicz. Now, I was up a weight class, but if he can employ some grappling, that might be a big advantage.
We've never seen it at 185. We have to say it, but I don't know if we've seen a guy as strong as Dricus right at 185. So big, physical, strong guy, excellent top game. He can smother guys, and he also has the wrestling to get the fight to the mat. So let's take a look at some of his techniques when it comes to the grappling. And here we see him like this. He throws a nice head kick, right? Gets Strickland to react. And you know, nice and smooth. Look how relaxed he looks. Here, up. Let me feint that leg kick. And we're going to watch Strickland throw the jab and reset back to the middle, all right? And you look at Dricus's body posture here, all right? He's standing tall. He looks very comfortable. Looks like he's striking. We look at Sean. Sean is standing tall. You know, this is a striking scenario. We're kickboxing. You know, we're doing our thing. Nope, look at this level change. And it's all about the timing on the takedowns. You know, we go to the Bilal Muhammad fight against Leon. If you time the takedowns really, really well, the takedowns aren't hard because once you lock your hands, it's like 20% the effort versus 80, right? Because that lock allows me to just pull your legs. And we see this right here. We see this lock from Dricus, and there's really nothing that Strickland can do here, right? He's right under the butt. And it's just like someone pulling a chair out from under you. So really good timing from Dricus to get these takedowns. And now we talk about him crashing in. Look, I mean, he's hurting Sean here. Sean's bloodied up. So Sean does a good job level changing and getting underneath. And we've seen Sean do this before. And he gets a nice body lock here, okay? And Strickland's solid. He's decent here. But watch Dricus, his reaction here. Dricus is going to shoot this arm right underneath, okay? And switch this position and get this underhook immediately. Now we're going to watch Dricus reverse this position and connect his own hands. And now he's going to do like a little throw by with his shoulder here and get to the other side. So we see Dricus, he's got the over-under. He's going to try to kind of lift this up and elevate and bring his hips around, okay? And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to lift this up right here and kind of elevate and bring his hips around. And now we see the outside leg trip. So he went from getting taken down to reversing it right away, which is really impressive stuff. Gets on top, right? So guys try to take him down, but they don't end up with success. And lastly, this is the Darren Till fight. And the reason I put this in here is Darren Till's a striker. Here's a southpaw stance, which we will probably see out of Izzy at some point. And here, Dricus just really waits. Like, you see him really bait the shot because you see Till throwing the left hand, right? So this is the good entry that you want when you're really in there tight. Nice double leg. He lands this, but it's what he does after. He goes right to the mount. This is not a guy that you want on top of you. Big, powerful shots. He's got big legs as well. And once Till flips over, that's all she wrote. You're going to see him use the hook. Here's the short choke, and you're out of there. So not a guy that you want on top of you, and not a guy that you want starting to gain momentum in the grappling department. So I look for Israel to really be prepared to shut those takedowns down.
And Adesanya, the only real offensive grappling we saw was when he fought Alex Pineda, fellow kickboxer, and he kind of took advantage of his MMA experience. But defensive grappling, I imagine, is the real key for Adesanya.
We're going to talk about both, right? Because I mean, there's such a rivalry between these two. I would not doubt to see him try to win that physical battle. Look, this guy's developed great takedown defense, whether it's in space, right, or against the fence. And he also will grapple offensively, which we'll touch on. You spoke about it a little bit. He's not afraid to do that. So this first clip, we see him going against Robert Whittaker. And I just want you guys to watch the feints and the fakes, right? I mean, it's the details, right? The devil's in the details. Watch the feints and the fakes here by Israel Adesanya, okay? And you watch where his leg is right here. And you watch Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker's making a calculation right here. And in this time right now, you look at how low this leg is. You look at where Izzy is. You see where Whittaker is. I mean, this leg looks like it is available for the single. I mean, it's right there. It's not far away. And so this is what Whittaker's looking at. But watch Israel, how locked in he is. The second that Whittaker starts to pull forward, you see Izzy take his leg from right here all the way back. So Israel was keyed in on that. He was feigning and faking and trying to get Robert to kind of come and go for that shot. And you see that. Look at this extension here. This is never what you want. Your head, I mean, his head is way over his knees and way over his hips. He's got nothing to drive with, right? We just showed Dricus, if you get underneath, you can really drive. And this is an easy stop. So we see Whittaker just chasing this takedown. We see a little chest wrap here from Izzy, and he shuts this down. And these are the shots, and he's going to get up and kind of stalk. These are the ones that really make this guy go, oh, no. When you shoot and the guys, I mean, you don't even get close and then you're back on the feet and he's kind of pursuing you. It's just never good. Not a good look for the judges either. So Izzy in space, and we're going to see it again. There's the feint in the fake, and there goes Whitaker again with the reach. This time he gets the frame in there. He doesn't even have to chest wrap because he's so far away. So these really break the confidence of the guy that's trying to get the takedown. Robert Whitaker, being the man that he is, makes an adjustment. We're going to watch Robert Whitaker here against the fence. We're going to watch this leg. He's going to throw this little kind of stomp kick, and he's going to miss, but he's going to use this as a nice entry point, and now he's going to get in on Izzy. And this could definitely happen in this fight with Dricus. Dricus got good takedowns. So he gets the takedown. We're going to stop this and show just how good of a position Robert Whitaker is in right here. He's going to trap the leg, right? He's got the leg trapped, and he's got the arms around. So here's the wrist around the body. Here's the leg trapped, okay? The other hand's here. I mean, this is great position here for Robert Whitaker. Okay, let's get some ground control, man. Let's make this happen. Let's make it work. This guy's strong at middleweight. I mean, there's just nothing to say. He's going to post his hand, right? He's going to pull this leg out, and he's just going to basically stand up here. And this is really hard to deal with. And again, talk about an energy burn for Robert. And you alluded to this earlier. Here comes Alex, the scary guy coming forward. And this is just kind of an opportunity takedown because Pereira kind of initiated. But I want you to see this was really what impressed me. Watch Israel here. He's going to go to the wrist. Okay, he looks like a little Dagestani here. He's grabbing the wrist, and it's like, what is this? This is totally wrestling right here. And then he starts attacking the wrist. He goes back to the body lock, but I mean, he's 2-on-1 on the wrist. And I mean, this is just not something that we ever saw from Izzy, right? You see the red tape and the blue tape. He's holding the wrist while hitting him with the other hand. So that way, Pereira cannot post up. Right? If I'm stuck on the ground, I can't put my hand up, I can't get up. So this is great stuff here by Izzy. And you're going to see once Pereira tries to get up, then he goes 2-on-1 to the wrist and tries to pull it into the belly button to collapse him. And he will do just that. Watch. Here he goes 2, collapse the big man, right? So we know Pereira's a big, strong guy. So Izzy will go offensive with his grappling as well. I look for him to be more on the feet, but don't be surprised if you see it.
Well, let's switch back now to X factors, and we'll switch back to the champ. We just saw the belt getting wrapped around Israel Adesanya's waist. Yeah. He wants that for a third time. Dricus wants to keep it, and man, this rivalry is so heated. What's the X factor here for du Plessis?
It's power. I mean, simply put, this guy can put your lights out on the feet or on the ground. He's just a big, strong guy, and it really comes down to, can he physically control and hurt Izzy? That's really what I want to see, and you see this here. Robert Whitaker does that sprint jab where he kind of leaps in, and du Plessis, their team, they timed that. I mean, he waited for that, and then again with the switching of the stances, and then he hits him hard with this, and nobody likes to see Robert Whitaker get hurt. I don't know anyone that hates him. If they do, there's something wrong with him, but we got to show this. Here's Robert Whitaker hurt, and we see Dricus. We see his ability to finish here, and it's really the shot location too. In this next section right here, that's really impressive. Robert Whitaker is not an easy guy to put out, a former champion himself. But when we take a look at the power that Dricus has, just in that jab to sit him down and disorientate him like that, and then also the finishing sequence here that we're going to see from him, like look at this body shot. I mean, just such good placement. And then look at this shot right here. Little shot, right? Watch this one. I mean, that huge right hook. And then even when he goes down, we see the shot placement here. So he knows how to extend that power with his hands. Just not a guy that you want pounding on you. And look, you start thinking, I've got him backed up. No problem. You can't leave your chin up with this guy. I mean, you can't get hit with him clean. He can put you out, whether he's backing up, whether he's coming forward, just something that Izzy's camp obviously is going to be very aware of, not something he hasn't faced before. And then here he is on the ground. I mean, this is just hard to watch. Huge punch from Brunson and force the corner to even throw in the towel, which I think was the right thing to do at that point. So generating that power from sitting on his knees like that, which is not easy. So this is just a big, strong guy. You don't want to be underneath him, and you cannot take him lightly with your chin in the air. Even if you're dominating him, he has a shot.
Yeah, he just wasn't as polished a striker, so people kind of doubted him from time to time. He has the power to kind of make up for a lot of that. On the other side is the most polished striker maybe ever in the octagon in Israel Adesanya. What's his X factor?
I mean, you nailed it, right? This guy's got so many championship rounds, right? He's got such a high fight IQ. He's been in there with the very best in the game, and he makes beautiful adjustments. I mean, his win against Alex Pereira now, you look at it, it's like, wow. You know, his Sean Strickland fight, he looked terrible. There's no doubt. But when he's on point, I mean, he beat that guy, and we're going to take a look at that. So he's just got all the tools, right? So here he is. He's lost the title. Here he is facing the scary guy. He can never beat this guy. There was a lot of pressure on him going into this fight, so it was just really interesting to see what adjustments their camp would make. But here we see him southpaw, and I just want you to watch this, the fight IQ. Izzy likes to do that little, there's the left hand, and we're just gonna get that little rangefinder. We've talked about it many times. I got my rangefinder, we're southpaw, now we're gonna land our kick. Whenever he does that little touch and he knows he's far enough away, right, he's just getting his range, there's my left kick. All right, cool, no problem. There's my first low kick, now I get my little feint and fake, and now with the same leg, I'm gonna send it. There's a little touch again, then he sends it high with a question mark, right? And he knows Pereira so well that if he's at the end of those hands, at the end of that range, he's right where he needs to be. So you could see how he can control this line of a man at distance like that just by understanding the distance with his hand. And beautiful work just with the kicks, but that's not what I wanna highlight. What I wanna highlight is the film study here. We know the ending of this fight and how it happened, but we see Izzy was looking for this the whole time. And if you watch where he targets this shot, he hits him here over and over again. And I ask, our fans, go back and watch the kickboxing fights, which we went over those, I think, the first time they met. Watch these guys. He knows that that's the spot to hit Alex. And he goes for it over and over again, right to that side of the head. And here, he's constantly attacking it, but this again shows he got killed with the leg kicks in the first fight, right? So we know Pereira loves the leg kicks again. We see the square stance. Chama, the square stance, that's scary, man, right? It works for him. There's nothing to say. We're not criticizing it. We're just pointing it out. And we know Izzy understands that, right? He got killed with that leg kick earlier. So we see here comes the leg kick from Pereira, and look at the switch. I mean, here's my leg. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Switch in the middle, but not only switch, Izzy switches to the left hand. Look at this. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. He's gonna switch to the left hand, and we see Alex is still stuck here, like, what? And watch that little right hook right over that top again. So he's way over here now, okay? He starts here and he ends way over here, which is what you want. You wanna strike at angles, okay? You wanna be creating angles all the time, flanking, and that's exactly what he does. Nails him with that. But this is the part I really wanna focus on. So I can't think of a scarier guy to let walk close to you and you just go, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
He does this many times in this fight, and every single time he gets close, he throws a little left hand, and then he throws the right hand right to that same spot. Okay, he's a little bit off on this one, but we see it over and over again. We see him targeting that over and over again, and here we go. Here he is against the fence again. Let's talk about it. Ooh, that's a hard knee. He died here last time, okay? He really, imagine how nervous he was right here, but watch the patience of Izzy, the patience and the confidence. And he lands that big shot, he finds it, he ends the fight. And when we look at it again in slow motion, he was looking for that shot the whole time. Covered up again, right? Okay, we know that Pereira comes in, but his defense is lacking a little bit, right? He lets the hands kind of fall out. It's just his style. I mean, when you're that tough and scary, I can understand why. And we see Israel. He keeps that high shell. Watch. Right after this, he throws the left hook. Boom, here it comes. The left hand and the right. And then he follows it up again. He knows that's the sweet spot on Alex. He talked about it. He talked about it at length. Boom, boom again. So I look for Izzy to do a ton of study, film study. I look for his team to do a ton of film study. I also look for Dricus' team to do a ton of film study, as they did for Robert Whitaker. This one is going to be really, really interesting to see who can execute.
It's not just a war of words at this point.
No.
I mean, there's high-level fight IQ going on both sides. We'll go to keys to victory now as we wrap it up, and we'll start with Dricus du Plessis, who's holding the belt. What's he got to do to keep it?
Absolutely. He's got to keep Adesanya on his back foot, right? We saw Sean Strickland have a ton of success pushing him back, right? It's like he knew that's all he had to do was kind of push him back. And Izzy kind of accepted it. Well, Dricus just beat Sean by pressuring him and kind of backing him up in some of those rounds. So we know he understands that. And I think he's really going to look to push Izzy back, not give him that space and let him do all the things that he does so well. To do that, he's going to have to win the transition. He's going to have to win the clinch positions. He's going to have to win all those little small positions if he can't take him down right away and try to wear Izzy out and get him to react. And finally, he's got to maintain control time. If he can get Izzy down, similar to Jan, and get some of that top control time, I mean, that's going to really change his fight. If he can't control him on the ground, he's got to control him against the fence with that clinch time, big body, land those shots. He's got to find a way to control the octagon.
And for Adesanya to get his championship back for a third time, what are his keys?
He's got to control the center, man. I think he's got to get back to how he used to hunt guys, right? Like in that Whitaker film, he's coming forward, he's faking. That's a scary guy coming at you with all that length, all those switches, right? But when he fades back against the fence, you know it's probably 1 or 2 punches coming, and guys can kind of deal with that. So to control the center, he has to stay off the fence, right? This was kind of his kryptonite in his last fight. I really look for him to make some adjustments, control the center, be in the middle, use that excellent footwork to keep Dricus right where he wants him. Lastly, he's got to be aggressive right off the bat. I think an aggressive Israel is scary. I think that he's hungry. He had a break. I think he's going to come out really, really aggressive and really be hunting to get that strap back.
Well, it was 11 months ago when Adesanya fought Sean Strickland last September in Sydney.
Yeah. That's
where he lost the belt. Dricus du Plessis last summer had that career-defining win to that point over Robert Whitaker to kind of get him the title shot, which he, of course, came through on over Sean Strickland earlier this year. Expertly done, and now all that's left is to see how it actually goes down in Perth, Western Australia. For Sayif Saud, Brendan Fitzgerald, enjoy the fight. Thanks for watching UFC Breakdown.